welcome to the end of year number 1 and year number 2. Thought we'd start off the show with a little bit of fireworks. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I certainly appreciate it. So if you're just joining us, put in the comments where you're tuning in from. Let's just check out our fans here, see who's live on the broadcast today. So thank you so much. Eric Steffi, OHIO, love it, man. Second COVID shot last night. Hope you're not too sick. Not looking forward to that because I know it's probably going to be a brutal process for me, I'm sure. So, yes, haven't got my appointment yet, but I don't plan on kind of venturing out of my house anytime soon either. So I think I'm good. I've made it this far. So welcome to the show, Scott Riley. Thank you so much for hanging out again. Repeat guest again from UK. We have a strong UK contingent. I love it. I love all the folks who show up from the UK every single week. People like Scott Riley, people like Robert Givens. Love you, man. I appreciate all that you do for us, rocking the Team Orange swag, so thank you so much. I appreciate all of you who tune into this show. This is the Do What Is Necessary live stream, coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio. It's turning out to be a sunny day. Started off rather rainy, so we got some heavy hitters in the house. Matt Solomon, thank you so much for hanging out again with us today. We're excited about today's show. Today's show is going to be 100% about you. I believe in the mantra of always be appreciating. So this show is going to be about my way of showing my appreciation for all of you who tune in, who watch the show. Those of you who actually watch or listen rather with your earbuds. Those who are hanging out from wherever you happen to be. I thank you. I thank you for this journey. And if you've made it this far, you're still alive. We've made it through a very, very brutal year. I started this show this time last year. Tomorrow's actually the official anniversary. April 1st, I started this show on April Fool's Day. But everything went into lockdown a couple weeks prior to that. I'm sure that it's probably was the case for you. But I got on a lot of calls with a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of people were worried, myself included. I'm not going to lie and say everything's been great the last year, because it's been tough. It's been tough on us all. But I think this show today is going to celebrate the fact that we are all still standing. We've seen a lot of death, destruction, and chaos in the world, and that's what I meant this show to be, is a way to take out on a Wednesday afternoon in the middle of your work week to just think about what is actually necessary in your life. And that's why I started this. That's why it's the title of the show, Doing What Is Necessary. And this is about throwing out all of that garbage that we've been taught up to this point in our life about what our life should look like and who we should be patterning our life after. And this is about doing what's absolutely necessary for you. So again, this has been a labor of love. This has started out as a way of helping other people, but it's become a form of therapy for me. Really, as giving back to a community, an IT community that I spent 30 plus years dedicated to the IT industry. So I salute all of you who are still keeping people running, still keeping people working from home. You have a tough job right up there with our healthcare workers. So let's start off the celebration. So I wanted to start the show by thanking some people. And again, if I missed your name, I certainly apologize. We could probably take an hour broadcast for me to thank all of the people. And if I miss your name, I apologize. But I just wanted to start off today's show and just start by thanking the people out there who really have made this show possible over the last year. So let's start off with some of the ones who were actually on the show. Thank you so much, Robert. I love the encouragement that you give. I love the fact you support this show. And the weeks that we've not been able to do the show, you follow up and make sure, hey, is everything okay? So stand-up human beings. So if you're in the UK, you need IT services, get a hold of Robert or our second repeat guest, Scott Riley. So we thank you so much for the support that you've given us over the last year. I really appreciate all that you two guys do in supporting the show. Gabe Raggio, if you're watching the show, thank you so much for introducing me to your network and allowing me to meet some great people inside of your network down there in New Orleans. I appreciate all that you've done. So if you're just joining the show, put that in the comments where you're tuning in from as we roll through some of our thank yous as my shout outs to some of the people that have watched the show. Scott, you got some competition, you and Robert. Becky Coates, again, another UK, tuning in from her sofa. So we appreciate those people. Corey Munson, I want to thank you for all that you do for the IT channel. Educating first and not all being about sales. That's one of the things that drew me to you, is the fact that you're a giver of the best kind. So I appreciate all that you do, and I appreciate the friendship that we've been able to start over the last year. Scott Bateman, if you're watching the show, give me a shout out in the comments that you're tuning in. Scott actually caught the show a couple weeks ago, actually a couple months ago, back in February, and it was actually somebody had liked the show, and he actually jumped on and watched it on a Wednesday afternoon. I was talking about the book on marketing, so he grabbed the book, loved the show, so we appreciate you. So Peter from the Netherlands. So I can add another one to our list. So I don't think we've had anybody from the Netherlands on the show. So welcome, Peter, to today's show. Hopefully you get a lot of benefit out. So we're going to be giving some stuff away. So you want to hang out to the end of the show. I'm going to be diving behind the scenes and show you the setup, so, start to finish. And if you have questions as we go along, especially when we dive into the behind the scenes stuff, let me know. Let's see here. Where do we leave off? Let's see here. I've had some weeks, I'll be honest with you, where it's tough to do the show. It's tough to get in the right mindset with what we see going on in the world. And just when I've had, some rough patches with getting the show done and having that enthusiasm, I get messages like this. This person said, "I'm not too proud to admit that your show literally moved me to tears. It was exactly what I needed. Right message, right time." That's what makes it all worth it. That's why I started this show, was to be able to have an impact and be able to help people. And I've gotten dozens of comments like this from people that really, it makes the show so worth it, and I really appreciate comments like that. Jesse Castro, so thank you again for all that you do. The one and only Nigel Moore, we broke him into LinkedIn Live back here at the beginning of the year. He did his first LinkedIn live stream live with me on this show back at the beginning of the year. Jesse Locke, very enjoyable. Couple takeaways that will apply in your life. Hopefully, that's what we're doing, is helping you to do what's necessary in your life and not just living a life what other people say. So appreciate that. Daniel Lamas catching us live today. I appreciate that. I know that you usually catch us on the replay, but again, another repeat viewer, a repeat supporter of the show. Thank you so much. I certainly appreciate all that you do. So let's see, where do we leave off? Again, we're first time Joel Featherstone into all of this orange and the orange do what is necessary movement. So we appreciate that. John Avignon, first time guest a couple of months ago, so we appreciate you. So Scott, I'm going to throw this in there too because I like this comment. So you get a repeat shout out today. So I love comments like this. We're appreciative, and if you haven't checked out Scott's stuff too, he's actually taken the leap and jumped into live streaming on LinkedIn. Very entertaining show. I appreciate what you guys are doing, having the courage to get out there and put yourself out there to the world. As you can see, this is probably the latest I've had somebody tune into the shows, 3 a.m. But Militia, we appreciate you. Mark Horowitz, that's what this is all about, building a great community. So thank you for being part of it. Michelle McBain, we appreciate all that you and Jay do for the IT channel. So shout out to you great people. Kyle Ridgway, thank you so much for sharing and being part of the broadcast. Morgan Beard, appreciate you. You know, this was number one takeaway. Stop being like everybody else and be more one-to-one. Many relationships. Yeah, your business is built on relationships. Make building your business about relationships. So we appreciate that. Saudi Arabia, everybody's well represented. My last comment here was from Scott Stratton. If you caught my show back a couple months ago, I talked about the book Unmarketing. So if you haven't checked that out, go to orangenomad.com/unmarketing after the show. But I actually tagged Scott. I talked about how he helped me. His book helped me back in the early 2010, 2011. His book came out in 2010. But how it changed my mind about marketing and allowed me to escalate the growth of my business and be able to sell that and to do what I'm doing right now. So Scott was actually asked to be on my show the very next week. So if you haven't checked out that broadcast, certainly check out. Scott's actually doing live streams on Wednesdays as well, but he does his live streams at noon Eastern time. So thank you so much. Like I said, we could probably go on for another hour or two with all of the great comments and feedback that have been left on this broadcast over the last year. So we just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart, all of those folks who watch every single week. And if this is your first time, please, thank you for joining us. Put that in the comments too. If you're watching this on the flip side on the replay, let me know where you're tuning in from and whether or not this is your first time catching the show. So I promise there'd be giveaways. So and this is going to be for those of you who are tuning in live. I got the confetti gun ready today. So anybody wants a free t-shirt, please put in the comments, type in free t-shirt. First person that responds to puts these in the comments, you'll be able to snag all of the free giveaways that we're going to have throughout the show today. So again, you want to make sure you watch live, and we're going to be doing a lot more of this in the coming year to be able to give away and to be able to build our community and for people to be able to show their support for what we're doing here on this broadcast. So again, first person to type in free t-shirt in the comments gets the free t-shirt. So we appreciate that. All right. So now let's dive into the part that you're probably all kind of chomping at the bit for today. So I'm going to move a few things around, and then we're going to go split screen and talk about some of the things about how we actually produce the show. And I'll be honest with you, I did a couple live streams on LinkedIn. We've been approved on LinkedIn for, I think, in 2019, we got approved in about August. So I'd only done one or two broadcasts before April 1st of last year. So there's been so many tools that have come about and that made this job so much easier over the last year. But I kind of was, figuring it out. I went back and looked at some of our older, first few broadcasts, and I had some issues with the tech, video and audio being out of sync. And yeah, it was frustrating, but it was also, I didn't let that stop me. I was just going to get started, and we have evolved to the show what it is today. And we're going to keep evolving, keep pushing the envelope. But if there's things that you specifically want to know about our setup or about the process, I'm a systems and process person first. That's what brings peace. That's what brings calm in your business. You can't build a calm business if it's chaotic and we don't have systems and process in place. So go ahead and put it in the comments before we get started. Let me know you can still hear me. I just want to make sure the comments still come in. That way I can make sure that we answer questions as we dive into the behind-the-scenes look here. So, all right, we got our first winner of the day. So let's see. Scott Riley gets the free t-shirt. So good for you, man. So Scott, if you want to DM me your address, we'll get that right out to you. But yeah, so kudos to you, my friend. All right, let's get rocking and rolling. So I'm going to go behind the scenes now and show you. As I mentioned, I'm a systems and process person first. So that's where I'm going to start first. And don't get overwhelmed by this. I have built through this process, and it's not completely built out yet. But that's what we do. Every time that we do a show, I debrief and I dig behind the scenes of what worked, what didn't work. I'm constantly learning, constantly evolving what we're doing. So this right here, I've kind of built out. I'm going to zoom all the way out. That way you can see that. This is part of a bigger strategy with the show so that we can have more reach and that we can take the efforts that we're doing with this show and be able to make it a broader audience and to be able to reach more people. Because not everybody's going to be tuning in to LinkedIn at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon. So again, it seems complicated, but it's all about starting the process and starting to build the process. So I'm not going to break this whole thing down. We're going to be breaking this down for our Team Orange members in the coming month about how we actually produce this show. So let me zoom in so that way you can see. Just kind of, I'm going to, just touch on, sorry if that's making you dizzy. But I just want to touch on the main phases of how we get started. It all starts with the ideas, and I keep a log of the ideas. I was using Trello for a long time, for a while. We switched to a different tool now, and again, I'm going to be doing lots of in-depth about this because I've found that this new tool that we're using has completely revamped my process, revamped a lot of the things that we're doing inside of our business. And it's not a Microsoft product. Sorry, IT guys. I wanted to love Microsoft Teams so bad, but it just didn't work for me. But again, future broadcasts, we'll talk about that. I'll show you a quick snippet of that and our process inside of it. It's a tool called ClickUp. You probably heard of it, but I'm going to talk a lot more about that. I'm a huge fan now. We converted all of our business over to that over the last month and a half, but I'm absolutely loving it. All right, so let's talk about idea. Then we go on to the production, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But this is the part we're building out as we go. Is doing how to promote the broadcast. How do we get more viewers? Because we have done zero promotion for this show, other than just maybe tagging a few people that have been repeat guests and repeat viewers. So I just wanted to do more of that. How do we build our audience and analytics and then maintenance? How do we, make that go further? How do we split that and duplicate our efforts inside of just this show? How do we make it work harder for us is really, the crux of this. So again, I want to break this down. I may do this if this is something that you'd like to have more, training on, or more, if we should do a full show about this, how we actually do the full production, how do we plan it out? But I know that a lot of people want to know just the tech of how to do it. So I want to make sure that we cover that. Let's see here. So let's do one thing here. So I'm going to flip back here because I forgot some very important people to thank, and I can't believe I missed that. I want to thank the people that have been guests on my show. Man, I can't believe I almost forgot that. So thank you to Pete Matheson, Steve Greeter, Corey Munson, Juan Fernandez, Matt Solomon, Scott Stratton, Matt Lee, Terry Green, and the one and only Nigel Moore. Thank you so much for taking the time. If you guys don't follow any of these people, please do so. Reach out to them, follow them. Just an absolute world-class group of people. So forgot to thank you. So thank you guys and gal so much. But quite a few more guests going to be on the show this year. So let's see here. Let's go back to some comments here. So let's see, which do you prefer, LinkedIn Live or Restream? We're going to talk about that because kind of the differences between the two. LinkedIn Live is actually, you need Restream to get to LinkedIn Live. You need a broadcasting tool to get to LinkedIn Live. It's not like Facebook or YouTube where you can just log into Facebook and YouTube and create a live broadcast and go live right from that site. You need a broadcasting tool of some kind to be able to get that, to be able to connect from your studio through the broadcasting tool out to LinkedIn. That may change over the next year, I don't know. But right now, the process is you have to use a third-party tool to be able to do that. So before we jump back in, let's give something else away. Let's give away a coffee mug. Who'd like a coffee mug? Those of you who are watching the show here live today, if anybody wants a Team Orange coffee mug sent directly to you, please put that in the comments. First person, again, that responds with a comment, free mug in the comments, gets a free mug. So we appreciate that. So let me hide that, get that out of the way. So let's talk about that. Let's go back, flip our screens here, and let's go back and continue the part on process. So essentially what I've done, like I said, we go from the idea phase, and once we've agreed on an idea, we plug it into our content plan, and that's when we actually start sitting down the production phase of things. When we start, again, the messaging, what type of, kind of filling out the idea or the content on that idea. And then that's when, again, we start the editing process, and I'm going to jump in and show you here. Some of this is going to be applicable as we do more out on YouTube. Again, the rough uploads, again, it's going to apply to LinkedIn. So this isn't locked in strictly to LinkedIn Live, but this is any live streaming that you want to do. You want to kind of go through this process. It makes it much easier to walk through a process that you can just follow every single week. That has been key to really allowing me to just sit down and produce this show. And you want to make it as easy as you possibly can, but it all starts in that initial phase with getting the ideas and getting the production process rolling. So congratulations to Peter van der Linden. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. He is the winner of the coffee mug. So awesome for you. Hopefully that wasn't too loud in your ears. So Peter, if you want to direct message me your address, we will get that sent out to you ASAP. We'll get you that sweet coffee mug. So, all right, so let's continue the process. So once I got everything in here, that's when I start building out the show each week. So I'm going to flip over and show you. This is ClickUp, and this is kind of how we have everything systematized, and everything is a process. And we've continued to evolve and build this out as we've gone along. So basically, when I sit down at the beginning of the week on Mondays from 1 to 3 is when I sit down and actually we do all of the writing for the show, and I start doing some of these planning, type of things in the process. So we, obviously a thumbnail graphic for the show, that's on the checklist. So as you can see here, we have a pre-production checklist and a post-production checklist. And if you followed me for any length of time, you know I'm all about checklist, systems, and process. So again, anything you can do to make this easier to produce a show. And again, this can apply to anything that you're doing, any type of marketing, but especially around video. So these are the things we do on the pre-production. We find the topic for the show, write out the content, get the show graphic, the thumbnail graphic, publish on Restream. That's where it actually creates the event on Restream. And what's great about Restream is you can actually, when you create the event in Restream, it sends and posts automatically out to your social platforms that are connected. So it automatically creates a post with a remind me button now, which we didn't have at the beginning. It was so difficult in the beginning to let people know we were actually doing a show. But it's getting easier now. So then we publish that on Restream, which sends a post out to YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And then we start editing our scenes in eCamm, and I'm going to show you some behind the scenes on eCamm in a couple minutes. And then I always do a go live test. We do, audio video checks the day before and then an hour before. Any of you guys who worked in IT, stuff breaks quite often, and there's nothing that can ruin a broadcast. I've only had a couple times where we've had some tech snafus where it actually just would not work. So again, that's where testing out ahead of time is super, super important. So once the show is actually done, then we go into a post-production. The post-production tasks are going to be, just letting everybody know. So we add the YouTube video to our YouTube channel and put it in our playlist. We update our podcast page, and then I also post that out to our community members over on Team Orange to let them know if they missed the show that they can watch the broadcast. So that is, a lot of it in a nutshell as we get ready. And this are all things that we've done and I've learned as we've gone along. Is just having the tools. We were using a lot of different tools to try to get this done. I'm happy that everything all lives in one tool now. So your documents, your notes and things can live right inside of here. So we were, using, Microsoft Word and storing that out on Office 365. So it just gets difficult to share that as we've brought on, others to help with the show as well. But most of it, is me doing the show. So don't feel like you have to have a whole production team to be able to get a show done. You can do this, and I'm going to, again, we're going to talk about the tech behind it here in a couple minutes. So this is where we put the notes in the shot list, things I want to talk about, things we want to cover in the show. So we set up camera angles. So this is something more new we're going to be doing today, is showing you different camera angles, because a lot of people will just, again, they're curious as to how to get everything set up. And you'll find that I've got a pretty minimal setup, and it's not, tons of high-ticket items to be able to produce a show. And hopefully, you hope it's good quality out there. Hopefully, we're producing something that people want to watch week in and week out. So that covers kind of the process of building, out the technology or the process behind. Now we move into the tech stuff, the stuff that I know that you're probably all chomping at the bit for. And again, if you have questions as we start the process of going through breaking down some of the tech stuff, let me know. So let me flip over here. And so I'm going to talk about and just walk you through my setup. And again, I'm going to try to, zoom in and get as much detail as possible. But if there's something that you want me to talk about further, please put that in the comments. I'm happy to kind of stop and just cover everything that you want to know about today. So a couple things that we've added this week, and this is kind of nerve-wracking because we're doing things a little bit different, a little bit out of the norm, a little bit outside of our normal process. But this is actually the setup where I work every day. This is the setup that I produce all of our videos. This is the setup. I don't have to set anything up. Everything is already set up and permanently in place. And that's what's really been key is I hate tripods. I hate light stands. I hate setting all that stuff, doing setup and tear down. It discourages you from producing content because it's just so much work getting ready. And that's really why I love doing live broadcasts, is because it's spur of the moment. You just kind of rip that Band-Aid and go. But it's as you can see, I'm a very minimalist. I don't have a lot of stuff on my desk, and this is kind of a normal day. I don't have a lot of stuff in my background. So let me just flip over here so you're not seeing two of me. So again, if you have questions on the setup, let me know. So thank you, Scott. Hopefully, again, we're producing a high-quality show. So as you can see here, I've got two screens that we're running things off of. So let me just talk about the geek stuff first. I know there's a lot of tech people probably watching. As you can see, I'm a Mac person, so I know that the Mac PC debate stopped. Hopefully nobody starts throwing tomatoes at me. I've been using Mac since 2008, even when I had my IT business. So sorry, little secret to IT folks. I'm an Apple fanboy, still am. Everything in our house is Mac, and so again, hopefully we don't get too many apples thrown at us. But everything, the broadcast and the stream is actually done from my MacBook Pro. It's a 15-inch MacBook Pro, and again, it's not latest spec. It's 2015 MacBook Pro, i7 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, I think 256 gigs of SSD storage. But again, everything is broadcast here. So this screen right here, and we'll dive into eCamm so I can show you some of how we do that. But everything is actually broadcast, encoded, and sent out to Restream from this machine here. And one of the things that I added a couple months ago was this guy right here. I had this laying around. It's a 2014 Mac Mini. And one of the things I started doing with that is being able to set up when I'm doing presentations for keynotes. I actually have my slides and everything running on this monitor here. And I won't show you that right now, but I have my show notes right here. So what is actually broadcast from this will be the slides. So what you typically see in this setup, if you've watched the show before, where I'll have slides in this screen here, that's actually being sent over NDI, which is through the network. It's sending that video signal from my Mac Mini into eCamm on my MacBook Pro. So that's taking a lot of the workload off of my MacBook Pro, so that I don't have too much, because that's what I've tended to find. The machine that you have that's actually sending the broadcast out, you don't want to have a whole lot of things running on that. You want to have as much bandwidth on the machine. And talking about physical bandwidth, obviously having the physical bandwidth to be able to send live streams is super helpful. Most of you are probably tech people and probably have super fast connections. We have a gigabit upload or a gigabit download, 50 meg upload here in the studio. So again, real simple setup. We started the show, just to let you know, on a 100 by 10 connection. So our first few broadcasts, I think for the first 4 or 5 months, we were actually producing on 100 meg. So you don't need a gigabit to be able to do that, but it certainly helps. It has certainly helped as we've upgraded things as well. So again, any questions on the setup as we go? As you can see, it's very simple setup. Camera straight in the middle. I started out with just a Logitech C920 webcam. So I think for the first few months, that's what I was running on. And then I actually started using my wife's old iPhone 6S Plus. Started using that as a camera, just clipped it to the monitor and started using that as the webcam. Just because it's very difficult to not get graininess and things and get the look that you're trying to get out of a webcam. So again, if any questions on setup, please let me know as we walk through this. I'm happy to answer any questions on the tech. So I've actually am using to get this shot here, and I'll shoot over to our other shot, is overhead. It's actually right above me is that old iPhone. So don't think you have to go out and get, DSLR, which is what I moved to in December. I got that right at the end of December on Canon's website. It's a refurb. It's a refurbish. We've been in a Canon shop. My wife's a photographer, has been for 10, 15 years now. So we're a Canon shop here. So again, this is kind of a Mac versus PC. I tend to find with those who are in streaming that it's either Sony or Canon, and then everybody kind of throws tomatoes, back and forth at each other. So again, just pick a camera if you want to upgrade, but don't feel like you have to start out your streaming with a high ticket webcam. And this DSLR, I want to say $849 is the I'm using a Canon M6 Mark II. And it's sending the signal out via HDMI and going into, I don't know if you can see it, a Elgato CamLink 4K USB. And then that's feeding into my MacBook Pro to give me a 1080 60 frame per second shot that you see here. So this shot here is directly from my M6. But I absolutely love it. It has leaps and bounds, really, it's up to the game in what we're able to produce. And I've got a Sigma 16 millimeter 1.4 lens on it, and that gives you the nice blurry background. I'm actually only, as you can see here, an arm's length from the wall behind me. and that's just a painted wall that I painted that dark gray as a backdrop, I think like 4 years ago. So it's just a colored wall behind you, and then I have an LED that's actually sitting on a tripod directly behind me. It's a Pixel G1, but it's just shooting orange color. It's a RGB light shooting orange color at the wall behind me. That gives me this nice orange glow effect. It's USB-C charging, so all I do when I'm done is I take that. That's the only thing that I tear down in this setup. I actually literally just move that over to the corner and plug it in and charge it. It's a battery-operated light. So, Jennifer Bleem joining us. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jennifer. So if you don't follow Jennifer and you're in IT and IT sales especially, and selling cybersecurity, Jennifer has a super ton of knowledge. I've known Jennifer since my days back when I had my MSP. I think we go back almost a decade now, Jennifer. I think in 2012 was when we first met. But yeah, super excited to have you on the show today. So we haven't given anything away in a while. So we've given away a t-shirt and a coffee mug. So let's give some other stuff away. Sticker pack. If you would like some free stickers, Team Orange, to be able to show your support, put those anywhere you want. I don't have one in arm's length to show you. But yeah, put in the comments free stickers, and we'll get those stickers sent right out to you, again, ASAP. So we appreciate that. All right, let's take some comments here, or questions. Let's flip back over. Wrong camera. So, all right, hit the wrong button. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, with Stream Deck. So, all right, Robert Gibbons, you are the winner chicken dinner of our free stickers. I've already got your address, so we'll get those sent right out to you. We'll get those ASAP over to you in the UK, so we appreciate that. All right, let's see here. Scott Riley is Canon M50. Yes, that's the one I was looking at for a while. Do you have the Mark 1 or the Mark 2, Scott? Because that was kind of one of the debates that I had going back and forth. They were tough to get when I started looking for them, because I think they just came out with the Mark 2 like August or September, so they were tough to get last summer because that's when I wanted to upgrade it. But the Mark 1, I heard, can't do clean HDMI, so it can't send a signal out and give you a clean feed, so you get all of that stuff, the interface stuff in your stream. So this shot that you're actually seeing behind me, by the way, is just running on my iPhone 10. That's my everyday phone. So I just decided, okay, we're going to start using it as a webcam. So I just put an app called Shoot. It's just a Shoot camera app. I love it. There's not a whole lot of settings that you can do with it, but I like it because it gives you a clean feed with nothing on the screen. That gives me a clean feed, and I'm running the same thing overhead. Is running the same app overhead, running on a 6S Plus. So again, nothing elaborate. These are just things that I already had to be able to do and produce this show. So I figured, since I got that, that's what I'm gonna, again, we'll see what this looks like in post, and hopefully the picture quality looks good in the stream. But I want to do a lot more of this kind of over my shoulder type tutorials as we go through. So let's see, Scott he's literally just about to buy that exact lens. Can't recommend it enough. It is a sweet lens. They're not cheap, but the lens makes a huge difference in the amount of light. I did have like 2 great big square soft boxes, again, that were clamped. Everything that you see here is clamped to the desk, because I actually do have a standing desk. So if I want to stand, this entire setup goes up with me. Cameras and everything are all mounted to the desk. So everything goes up and down. I don't have to set anything up. Like I said, literally the LED that's behind me is the only thing that I physically set up to sit down and do any type of video production. So I can't tell you enough. If you don't have a stand-up desk, that's fine. Again, just use what you have. but you just want to make things as easy as you possibly can to just sit down and create video and create content. And your viewers, people want it, especially those of you who are in the IT space. People want to be educated in a non-sales way right now. So yeah, if there's things that we're leaving out, if there's questions that you have, let me know. Let's see here. So Jennifer, we met a decade ago. Yeah, we were 12. I'm going on 13. But yeah, I can't believe it's been a decade already, Jennifer. Man, time has just completely flown by. So I think, yeah. So Robert, I think we posted that up there, but we'll throw that back up there. So yeah, you get the free stickers. So I don't think I put that up on the screen. Let's see here. Robert asked a question here. What's the small pad? I'm assuming you're talking about this guy here. That is actually the Stream Deck, and that is what fires a lot of all of my camera shots. Let me move this over here. I'm going to zoom in on that. I set this up so I could zoom in so you can see. So this is the Stream Deck from Elgato. I'll move that over. So this allows me to pre-program a lot of every scene in our production on this little guy here. They make this, this is the, I think they make a 6 button, this is the 15, and I think the new one's 32 buttons. But yeah, that makes my life so much easier. Let me move this back up. And the reason that I put it on this arm is because I found that in the beginning I didn't have an arm. I've had this for about 4 years. But I had to look all the way down, which to me just kind of interrupted the flow, show flow. So I didn't want that. I just wanted to be able to just look down and be able to cue any of the buttons to be able to go. So like right here, Robert, since you asked the question, this is how I throw up our overlays in our broadcast. So it's a pre-programmed into a button from eCamm. So these buttons are everything out of eCamm. So hopefully that's what you were talking about. A lot of people ask about that. But this stand I got on Amazon, it's actually an iPhone holder or tablet phone holder. And I tend to find it was a perfect fit for the initial width of the Stream Deck. So I can actually get it up right out of my line of sight. And then when I'm done, I actually fold it back down and put it out of my way. That way I've got my whole desk to work from. But I absolutely love that. And again, it's not something that you have to get your stream started, but it does make things a lot easier so you don't have to think about a lot of things. So basically that's what I do is I start. This is how I kick the graphic off for the show. This is our countdown timer. And then these are the main scenes that I can switch back and forth from this main camera scene to a picture-in-picture, and then I flip over, and then I'm actually so that's real similar to the main camera scene, but just showing the feed from the cameras coming from the Mac Mini. But I'm happy, and hopefully, like I said, we watched the post. The video's not all. It doesn't. It looks pretty good on my screen. So hopefully those camera shots look okay. So let's see here. So Scott said he has the Mark II, so good. But yeah, that's cameras, as like I said, it's one of those things that people have their preferences. So he's got the Mark II and the Cam Link. Yep, love that. I know that I got one the other day, a cheaper one, $16. I think the Elgato Cam Links are about $100, a little over $100. So, let's see here. So, Scott asked another question. How does the Shoot app link to eCamm? Is it just plug and play? That's actually the great thing about it is it's just a standard iPhone cable that plugs into the Mac Mini. So let me switch screens over here. So the way that I have that fed is that the camera over top of here is via USB, and eCamm immediately recognizes that as a camera. So I actually have eCamm running in the background over here as well. So I have 2 instances of eCamm. So this feed right here is how I change the scenes for the behind the scenes, and anything that I do for slide presentations is all done off of this screen here. But eCamm is actually sending it through the network over to this eCamm that is our main production. So I didn't want to take up USB ports. I've got a dock underneath of this monitor arm. So it's just a monitor arm with a laptop tray over here. So I can actually move that and swivel that around to be able to use that as a third monitor if I wanted to. But I typically don't. I tend to find my 2 27-inch monitors are plenty. But yeah, I just didn't want to take up the USB and the processing power on my main streaming computer to be able to do that. And it's the same here. My iPhone X is actually just running. I got a couple extension cables, USB extension cables off of Amazon, and that plugs directly into USB on the Mac Mini as well. So all I do over here is, this is how I switch between the two, is I'm actually switching back and forth on this machine here, and it's sending it and changing the scenes inside of eCamm on the production machine. So I can actually, again, change everything. So I can flip it back to, this is running Microsoft Edge for a browser. So again, all of the browser and things, all of that's being done when I'm showing browser shots is done over here. It's being processed and just sending a small video file through the network. But yeah, so keep the questions coming too. So Robert said, yes, the videos are seamless. So that's awesome. So again, as we test new things, it always kind of freaks me out, when we start doing new stuff. So, all right, we haven't given anything away in a while. So let's see, what are we up to? Let's do a free hoodie. Who would like a free hoodie? Team Orange free hoodie. Whoever puts that in the comments first, free hoodie in the comments, you'll be able to pick up a nice, sweet Team Orange hoodie. And you'll be able to look, hopefully, half as good as, this guy here, who is rocking his Team Orange hoodie already. All right, Jennifer. Sorry, guys. I'm glad, Jennifer beat you to it. So Jennifer was the first one to post. So Jennifer, you get the sweet Team Orange hoodie. So kudos to you. All right. Let's keep rolling here. All right, so this guy. If you haven't figured out too, I've got two Misas. Two Misas. So this is my main driver for my MacBook Pro, and this is actually trackpad running for the Mac Mini. So that's what you see me doing over here. Keyboard, I haven't talked about that. I just upgraded that, I think, last week. After... We'll grab the old one real quick. I was using this guy before, and you're probably asking, why don't I use Apple stuff? Because Apple doesn't have... Let me show you here. It's kind of driven me a little bit crazy with Apple. I have the ability to change the device that I'm connected to. So with one keyboard, I can actually flip back and forth between my MacBook Pro and the Mac Mini. But yeah, that's so Apple, if you're watching, I mean, I can't believe you haven't come out with that already, the ability to do that. But I love the look and feel of the Logitech. This guy right here and this older mouse, as you can see here, that's the old trackpad. This is the new trackpad. Absolutely love that. I got that because a lot of the clicking that I would do with the regular mouse was coming through on audio when I was doing some presentations. But yeah, this guy here and my old trackpad, they're about 10 years old. So it was time to do an upgrade. Well worth it. Logitech, this is a pretty substantial keyboard. I actually did an unboxing video, my first unboxing video with our overhead cam over the weekend when I put it all together. Pretty happy so far. I think this is the first full week in using this guy. So, but yeah, love Logitech products. Absolutely, rock solid. I've not had any issues at all with the Logitech products. So let's move back over here to our behind the scenes. Okay. So let's see any other comments here. So Scott wanted to know, are you doing anything special with audio, microphones, any lessons there to share? It's very simple here, Scott. This is the Blue Yeti. I think it's the Blackout Edition. I've had this since 2008. Absolutely no audio processing whatsoever with this. This is just a straight USB connection into the MacBook Pro. But I'll show you in a minute here. You can actually control a little bit of some of the settings and volume and things inside of eCamm. But yeah, nothing elaborate and set up on this. But again, I wanted to run a full year before we started doing massive upgrades. Camera was the big upgrade that I did, this first year. I just felt that audio and video have to be dialed in. But yeah, nothing special. I've been super happy with this mic so far. This is just on the Rode PSA arm. And let me see if I can slide this up here so you can see. But I'll show that in a second. I'll show you the video lights that I'm using. But yeah, this just moves right out of the way, and you'll lose audio for a second. I hit that. That doesn't. So that fits right up underneath of my MacBook Pro, out of the way, so I have full use of my desk. So sorry for that loud pop. I knew I was going to do that. But yeah, so this is just a Rode PSA arm, and my headphones are actually coming out of the microphone port on the Blue Yeti. So I have real-time monitoring of what's coming through on the audio. But yeah, so let's see here. Yeah, like I said, if you keep the questions coming. I love the questions. So I'm going to move this camera up a little bit, and I apologize. You're going to get some glare. A lot of people ask about lights. So let me just move this camera up a little bit so I can show you the light that we have. So I upgraded these. These are just, this is GVM, great video maker, I think is what it's called, again, off of Amazon. I picked up 2 of these, so I've got one here and one behind me that's mounted on an arm. And these actually have clamps that mount to the desk. But I actually have I'll do a separate tutorial or video on that. It's actually on a large monitor arm with swivels, and that's what my camera's connected to. That's what that's connected to. And then I have another boom arm, an older boom arm. That's just kind of a cheap $25 one with an iPhone holder on the end. And that's giving the overhead camera. But yeah, again, everything's clamped to the desk and it moves with me. Been super happy with this setup over the last year or so as well. So, let's see here. Yeah. Assume the headphones were just Orange Nomad style and branding. Well, you definitely got that right. And they don't make these anymore. I'm super bummed. I think when I got these was, again, these are 2013. I think I got these in 2013. I think it was within the last year when I sold my IT business in 2014. I think I got these that last year. So I'm going to be super bummed if these ever break because I can't get another pair of completely orange Beats headphones. However, Scott, if you or Robert knows anybody at Orange Amps, my son plays guitar and I love Orange Amps. I wanted to use one as a prop, but they're super expensive. But they actually have a pair of headphones that can be wired and wireless. They're black with orange accents, but the name of the company is Orange. But if you guys have anybody over there that can hook me up. I'd love to have them on the show and, demo some of their products as we start producing music for my son. So, all right. So, again, let's keep the questions coming, too. So, yeah, you definitely got that right. Jennifer, branding is everything. Yeah, the Beats headphones, I love these things. They've been rock solid. Haven't had any problems whatsoever with them. So Blue Yeti can be set to cardioid mode, podcast mode. What it basically has, there really isn't any mode for the sound. The sound will be the same coming out of it, but on the front side of the mic, you can actually change which direction. The Blue Yetis, you cannot speak directly into the top of it. If you see somebody has this and it's tilted directly at them, and the audio doesn't sound that great, basically the microphones can be set if you're don't want to pick up anything in the room. So basically everything is directional right at me, and that's why I have this set up. But this is one of the things I think I probably will replace in the near future, just because this guy's big and it's on I forget what these are called. But basically it's a gimbal, so you don't pick up any feedback and into the mic itself, because if you tap on the mic, or if I tap on the desk, if I type on the desk, if you have this sitting on the desk, you will get some noise in the microphone. But yeah, I hit this thing a lot as I talk. As you can see, I talk with my hands, but I've hit this a number of times, and we've had to do retakes. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I have no complaints against the Blue Yeti. But we're probably going to be upping our sound game next. Because I have a few things that I want to mess around with. I think we're going to be looking at the Rode Podcaster Pro with a new mic. So anyway, again, those of you who are still hanging out with me, I certainly appreciate that. If there's questions that you would like to specifically on the setup, I'm trying to think if I covered anything. By the way, too, all of my lights in the studio are controlled. They're all on smart plugs, and I actually can control them all with Alexa. Good, she didn't come on, so we turned that off. So basically, everything can be done. I can turn off all of the lights. So as you can see, I only have 2 lights, and then I've got some desk lights here. So I'll just show you what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the lights. That way you can see what it looks like on lighting. Don't want to switch off too much. So I'm going to go dark here in a minute. All right, so as you can see, all I have shining on me right now are my desk lights. So I'm going to turn those off. And the light behind me. So you just have the orange light behind me. And so I'm going to turn on my desk lights. So these are just a couple LED lights from IKEA. And let's turn on our key light, which is the main light that's over here to my left. So as you can see, I only have one light that's really shining on me. It's a 45-degree angle, so you don't get the glare in my glasses. And then I have a light across the room. So that's actually over near my whiteboards where I do brainstorming. And then the last light is the light directly behind me. So that is a hair light. So just kind of separates me a little bit more from the background. But yeah, lights are not expensive at all. I was going to go with the Elgato lights, but they're like double the price of what these lights cost. I think I got these. I looked last night. They had a flash sale on Amazon. I think these were $95 each. But I love them. They're LEDs. The thing that I like about these two is I actually can take those and move them around because they can be battery operated as well. So just a couple external batteries, so I can leave that plugged in and be able to move that to a completely different part of the room, different part of the studio, to use the same lights. So I do like that feature a lot. Okay, so again, we'll keep the questions coming. So I appreciate all of the questions today. hopefully, I'm looking through my checklist, because you know me. I'm going to make sure that I covered everything in here. So we talked about the lights, the Stream Deck. All right, so what I haven't shown you is Restream. So just to answer your question, going back to what you were talking about earlier, Robert. So let me flip over here so I can show you Restream. It's going to probably do like a weird effect when I go in there. All right. So yeah, this is basically broadcasting Restream over on, my Mac Mini is actually just checking the stream. So everything goes into Restream and then out, like I said, to LinkedIn, as you see on the left side here. Everything here goes in from YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So you will only, and I like it. eCamm just came out with the ability they've added and been added to the LinkedIn preferred network. So we're going to be able to stream directly from eCamm straight to LinkedIn, which I kind of like. But again, I like having the ability to send the video out to other places at the same time. So I don't think we're quite going to go anywhere, with other from Restream. And again, just to let you know, I am. If you want to check out Restream, orangenomad.com/Restream, you can jump on a free trial of Restream. But again, just check that out. I think they have a free plan for a while too. So if you want to use the free plan, so if you want to use StreamYard, again, I just like Restream. We've used them from the beginning. They've actually sponsored a couple of our shows because of what we were doing. So I can't say enough good things about them, and they've improved that product an absolute ton over the last year. So just, phenomenal product. All right, so let's see here. So music and intros. Yes, we do use Epidemic Sound, but same thing, orangenomad.com/epidemic. You can jump on and get a free trial. Epidemic Sound, but yeah, a lot of the you can get sound effects and music. So like this audio track here, the one at the beginning, those are all Epidemic Sound. So but yeah, just kind of started with them. Facebook has some free sound collections, and so does YouTube, but you're pretty limited in what you can get on those free things. So, all right. So let me make sure I've covered everything. So we talked about lights. I think that's it. Let's do our last giveaway for today as we roll through here. The last giveaway of today is a free 6-month membership to our Team Orange. You get all access membership to all of our training, including a new Getting Started with LinkedIn Live checklist and mini course that we just published a week or so ago. So I've just had all the things that we've learned over the last year in doing these broadcasts. We kind of compiled that. I can't teach LinkedIn on LinkedIn. That's one of their prerequisites, that you can't talk about LinkedIn. So it's like Fight Club. So let's hide that. So let's see here. So this is the mini course here. So if you're interested in jumping on, but yeah, if we're giving away, just put in 6-month member in the comments. We'll give away a free 6-month trial, so you get all of our training, including this one, with a checklist on exactly how to do broadcasts like this. But yeah, you're welcome to check that out. And like I said, you get a free membership, so you get access to all of the training that we have. We're going to be doing a lot more. We just kind of launched our community back at the beginning of March. So we're just getting groups set up for bringing in some experts to be able to help out. People that have run businesses, not just people that talk about theory, but people like ourselves who've been down in the trenches and run actual businesses. But yeah, So anything else that anybody wants to know about before we wrap this episode up? I did want to show you eCamm real quick, so I'm going to flip into demo mode of eCamm. So what you see here is eCamm Live. So let me flip here, that way I can show you on the screen here as well. Yeah, so right here on this monitor is where I run eCamm. So what you're seeing on the screen here is eCamm Live. So this is the main, get the right mouse here. So this is the main window that sends the signals out. They've added a new preview feature, which I'm super excited about this. This is actually, we've been helping beta test this new version. I think they're due to release 3.8, I think today or tomorrow. But they have added the ability for you to be able to edit your scene and then be able to, without everybody seeing your mouse and all that stuff while you're live in the production. But you can use this as edit mode, so this is kind of live program mode. So this basically has become my confidence monitor as I look off to my right. And as I'm looking into the camera, I can kind of see what the shot is, make sure that everything looks good. But yeah, this definitely serves as a confidence monitor and me to be able to see that. So I love this too because, you'll be able to see all the comments and things that we add to the broadcast. Are all done right here. So I just click the add to broadcast and it throws it into the main broadcast. So Scott, to answer your question too about audio levels, I think Peter, you'd asked me about that as well. You can adjust the sound levels up on everything that is serving as sound. So as you can see here, I've got the Yeti microphone in here. Any movies that we play or sound effects, the system audio, that's when I play anything off of the computer itself. If you don't need any special software, it'll actually play in whatever broadcast what you have running. And then interview mode is this feature here. That was, again, one of those things that they've added in because we used to have to bring in Skype and NDI and it would bog the machine down. But we can actually have guests on. This is how we've done all of our guest interviews since like August. I think they came out with this feature, but I can control the camera settings all in here as well. So I can change the zoom and pan on every single camera feed that comes in, including this camera feed here, the one with the that shows my Mac Mini, as you can see. So that allows me to make any adjustments to the camera feed over here. But yeah, sound effects. What I like about this too is you can actually rearrange it to what works for you. All of these individual boxes can be resized and moved around, and it's just a very clean interface. But all of our sound effects are done in here, so they've got some default ones. This is where you can play music ahead of time, but we've actually programmed all of our music into a lot of the scenes, like the intro countdown. The music is actually programmed right into that button on my Stream Deck. So as we do the countdown. Yeah, so, all the overlays. So these are all the overlays. So when we do our like share button, those are all the overlays, high fives, all of that stuff that's how we trigger that. But I usually pre-program a lot of the things we want to put in the show on the Stream Deck ahead of time. And then you can build out all of your scenes. So all of my video production for all of our courses, when I do screen sharing and tutorials, all of that is done out of eCamm. I was using Camtasia before, again, just a lot of other different tools for doing screen shares and other things, but I pretty much can do our live stream, our video courses, I do my Zoom meetings, so I can actually send this 4K feed and be able to show scenes and things that I'm running in eCamm over on Zoom. So it's definitely can up your game and what you're doing over on Zoom. But yeah, same with everything else, orangenomad.com/eCamm. You can get a 14-day free trial of eCamm Live as well. Again, these great couple of guys that are running eCamm. They're twins based up in Boston, but you'll find the community for eCamm is just phenomenal. So the only caveat here for all you IT folks, eCamm is Mac only. But yeah, I can't recommend it enough. So, but if you're just getting started, Restream actually has Restream Studio now, so you can actually do a lot of these same type of things inside of a browser. So your webcam, your audio, video, overlays, sounds, movies, all of that can be done in a browser right out of Restream Studio. But yeah, good product there for sure. I've talked enough. But yeah, hopefully we've answered all of your questions today. And again, if you're watching this after the fact, I know this was a longer video, but I wanted to take the time because I get a lot of people ask questions, and a lot of people are apprehensive about getting started with live streaming. I absolutely love it, and this has been my preferred way of making videos, is to do these live. And so we're going to be repurposing some clips from our videos. It's a great way to produce content and be able to repurpose that out to social, repost that out to your blog, and whatever else that you happen to be running on your channels. I'm out of breath. It's been a long episode, so I appreciate those of you who are still here and hanging out with me today. But I just wanted to take a time to thank you again for all of the viewers, all of the people that have spent time hanging out with me over the last year. This has been a labor of love. It has truly been a therapy session for me. And speaking of therapy, Wednesday nights is Wednesday night therapy. Drake White, check him out. This takes you to his YouTube channel. He broadcasts live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, so that would be 8 o'clock Eastern my time, and that's one of the things that I look forward to. Is I kind of swiped this Wednesday night therapy and made this Wednesday during the day therapy for this show here. So thank you again for all the questions today. I'm appreciative that you're hanging out with me on yet another week. I look forward to all the things that we have coming in the our next season of the Do What Is Necessary live stream. So we have a lot more things coming up and a lot more things planned, and I'm excited. I'm excited about what the future holds. So thanks again. That's going to wrap our show for this week. I just wanted to thank you for, again, I can't thank you enough for supporting this show and being part of this amazing journey so far with me. As I've ended this show on every week since we started, always stay humble and kind, and always do what is necessary. I'll see you on the next show.